Hello everyone, it is Skyz here. Welcome back to another Fallout 76 video. I just got really lazy this week, didn't have any time to do anything, so I decided to use up one of my cheat videos and do a tier list on the best and the worst legendary perk cards. This is no particular order, because it's kind of hard to, because a lot of these cards are made for different builds and whatever else. Some are super niche, some are not as niche. If you guys do enjoy the video, leave a comment down below what you want to see next from me. If you enjoy these sort of tier list videos, by all means, leave me down a couple suggestions. If not, whatever. But without further ado, we're gonna jump in just straight up. Alright, so I have this lovely tier list set up here where I have use, great, good, mid, meh, never use, and the worst. These are really, again, in no particular order, just because there's so many of them. So this tier list, I did not make this one. This tier list does not include legendary strength, or doesn't include the perception, intelligence, the endurance, the agility, the luck. But it does have everything else. So depending on what that is, I'm not going to categorize I'm not going to categorize the legendary luck or agility perks. You know, the ones that give you extra special points as its own card, or like as its own category, because it's really niche. I do think some are preferably better than others to use, but again, it's up to you in your personal case. There's just a lot of perk cards that don't really need to exist, in my opinion. But we're going to just jump in and explain which ones you cannot use. Well, I mean, you can use, but like the ones I would not recommend using at all if you're trying to win something, I guess. I don't know. So I want to get the legendary special points out of the way, because that's gonna be the biggest category. So special strength, or legendary strength, or whatever you want to call it, depending on your build, it could be really good, or it could be not important at all. Most of the time it's not really. I mean, if you're gonna do a melee build, I recommend using it to get 5 extra points, and then use the 5 on other things, but that doesn't make any sense to me, because you can just use the slots up for other things. So I'm gonna leave it at mid. Charisma is probably yeah, I feel like Charisma's a lot less of a use case scenario, because I have used it in builds. For example, my medic's gunslinger and my medic shotgunner did use extra charisma, but that's because I needed the extra charisma. Most of the time, you're not going to need that extra charisma, because who the hell wants the extra 4 charisma? So I'm gonna leave that at mid. We are I mean, I can't really throw the other ones in there yet, but we'll get to those in a second. Ammo factory, I don't recommend having it on all the time. I recommend just taking it on and off, because you don't always need it on, but it is a great card. It's a great card. I would say it's a use, but at the same time, it's not going to affect you in battle whatsoever, so leave it at good. You get a grand total of a max of like 150% extra ammo, plus on top of ammo smith, on top of super duper. Just makes you an absolute not a beast, it makes you an ammo crafting legend. So that's where I would rank ammo smith, or Jesus Christ, ammo factory. Another one I would probably rank a little high is sizzling style, just because extra fire damage can help you from explosives and whatever else. Especially if you're going to go for an explosive build, I highly recommend sizzling style. But other than that, it's a good card. I wouldn't say it's a great card. It's a good card, because if you're a stealth build, don't recommend it at all, unless you're me on my stealth commando, because I'm a really squishy bitch. But explosive builds use this. If you're not explosive build, then don't use it. Let's take a quick second and just take a nice gander at the waste of a perk that is blood sacrifice. I'll read you the exact description. When you die, your teammates gain 25 DR and heal 40 HP for over 8 seconds. That sounds really good at first, right? That sounds really good at first. But if you're on a team with just all bloodied, if you're on a team with all vampire, this card gets to kind of just never be used, especially since at max level you get 40 DR to your teammates and 70 HP for 14 seconds. Again, it's not a super great card in my opinion, but I will leave it at never use because I just don't use it. I just don't see the point in using it at all. It's just one of the worst cards in the game in my opinion. So we're gonna leave it. It's definitely not the worst. There's definitely a card more worse than it. A card that you should just never touch at all, which we'll get to in a little later bit. So let's take a quick second to talk about Brawling Chemist. So Brawling Chemist is another one of those lovely perks that give you a combat enhancing chem, and this is a very niche thing. Actually, I'm going to change this to niche, yeah, because it's a very niche card. Melee builds use it, if not, don't use it. If off the top of my head, I think it gives you like extra like melee damage, I think extra strength, and I think something else. I get 1 per hour because I don't have it at max on my melee character, but it's another one of those niche cards that I would recommend you using if you do have it. Collateral damage. If you're using VATS, it's great. Actually, no, while we're here, I'm gonna throw these both up in here. These 2 cards are yeah, okay. Depending on what, you don't have to be in VATS. I lied. I was thinking of hack and slash. You don't have to be in VATS. If you kill an enemy, you have a 10% chance of doing explosive, just exploding the enemy entirely, and at max it's 20%. So it's not overly powerful, but it's definitely good. Actually, I would just say even just use these cards. Just use them. Absolutely use them. If you are going to be any sort of build, highly recommend using these. Honestly, as your first cards, once you hit level 50, you should 100% get collateral damage or far-flung fireworks. It's just up to your personal preference. I don't use these all the time, partly because I need the extra special points for my builds. But on my main builds, I do use these because that extra damage is super nice. Quote me if I'm wrong. I believe that they both get affected by Demolition Expert. I could be wrong though. And another one that comes to mind is Detonation Combination. I would throw it in the use, but who uses throwables really? At max it gives you 50%, which I'm gonna throw in good. I'm gonna throw in great. It's definitely a great card. It's not the worst card, but it's definitely a great card, in my opinion. Especially if you're gonna go with a grenade build. The extra 50% could just kill another 42 enemies because grenade builds are kind of powerful at the moment. Oh yeah, and the Exploding Palm. I forgot this one too. Exploding Palm is another one of those really good ones. I would say use. Actually, it's a little bit more niche. I mean, technically, all 4 of these cards are niche, but this is gonna get way too fucking filled up depending on what I put on here. So, again, at max level it's 20%, but at level 1 it's 5%. So I mean, but I mean for unarmed builds being kind of not powerful as they are right now, this definitely makes up for a bit of it, especially since they fucking destroyed the damage of melee builds. But that was a long time ago. I'm not salty about it still, I think. Electrical Absorption. This actually heals you. It used to just say it recharges your fusion core, and it would also heal you too, but now it actually correctly says it does. This is a card I actually have max on my heavy gunner, and I'm kind of a tank with it. I would throw it in great, but it only works if you're in power armor, so I'm gonna have to throw it in niche because it's just one of those super niche cards that not a lot of people end up using. Just another one of those cards that could be greats, but they're just never never used really on any other build besides heavy gunners and the occasional commando heavy gunner, or not the commando heavy gunner, commando power armor. My commando shotgun build actually uses this because the extra health can help quite a bit. Hack and slash, I don't know. Hack and slash is just a better version of collateral damage and fancy. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna throw these down the grate and throw hack and slash up here. Hack and slash is just a better version of both those guards, in my opinion. Because at max level with collateral damage, for example, you get a max of 20% to explode the enemy. But with hack and slash, you do area damage at a 50% chance. I mean, in VATS, of course, but with them adding VATS legendary effects to melee, it kind of makes up for the dilemma, or the what's the word I'm looking for the downside, I guess. So I would say use this depending on what, but Far From Fireworks is still a better option for range because obviously it only works for range. Follow through, I want to throw it in. I want to throw it in niche because it only works if you're in stealth, but I mean it's just kind of just like the best thing in here. That 40% damage at max level, that's multiplied. That's insane. Especially with everything being additive, that multiply damage is fucking ridiculous. If you're not using follow through on your stealth commando or on your stealth guerrilla build or whatever, what are you doing? Use it. It takes 2 seconds to flick on. It doesn't take anything. Even at level 1, that 10% damage is fucking insane. But at max level, this card makes you an absolute motherfucking beast. Especially like queen fights and shit. Alright, here we go. We got another one of the worst perks in my opinion. Actually, I would probably say it's one of the worst, but I don't think it's the worst. Power Sprinter. Who uses this? So, while in Power Armor, sprinting consumes 20% fewer action points. Depending on your build. It could be either a meh or a never use for me. If you're going for an AC 130 build where you have a jetpack and you fly 3,000 feet into the sky and you just mow down enemies with your minigun or whatever, by all means, it's a meh. But for me, it's a never use. Never use this thing. There's so many better options you can use. You can throw on Far From Fireworks. You can throw on Retribution, which is actually another really good one. Never use that. Same goes with the Power Armor reboots. Because I mean, sure, it does auto revive you with full health, but okay, all right. You know what? After reading that, I'm gonna swap mine to meh. It's a meh. I mean, I don't ever use it though, so I would throw it into here. But if you're going for like a solo lone wanderer type of build, or you don't have any friends like I do, by all means use this because it's pretty decent good. I don't use it though, so I mean I could be wrong about it. Maybe it's really good and I'm just missing out on it. But I'm gonna throw it in meh. It's a meh card. It's a very meh card. Funky Duds just gives you poison resistance, which yeah, it's all right. It's one of those really niche things in my opinion. Because at least with sizzling style, it has a PvP aspect to it as much as PvP's dead in this game. But Funky Duds just doesn't really do much. Sorry to say, it just doesn't really do much for me. So I'm gonna have to leave it like right there. Alright, and then we got the worst perk in the game, Master Infiltrator. Sure, you know, you can auto unlock level 0 and level, well, at low level at least, you can auto unlock level 0 terminals and locks, and you have, you know, max and everything. But unless I'm doing the story, I never use this thing. I just never use it. I mean, I could technically say that this is just worse It's debatable because at least this is a store use case. But most people, by the time they complete like Wastelanders or the Brotherhood quest line, they don't need this anymore. They don't need it because they already completed. There's no way they can go back and change it. Like, there's no way they can go back and use it during their playthrough unless they get to level 50 then do the story, which is really stupid. Mass Infiltrator is an absolute tank of a card. Unless the story DLC comes out, it's not getting thrown on my legendary perk cards at all. It's just gonna stay down here at the worst. In my opinion, this is the worst perk card, and you should never throw points into it, unless you're trying to be one of those people that have every single thing maxed out, which includes all the cards, which includes all of these lovely cards. Don't ever put points into this. Just don't. Save yourself the space. Speaking of that, Retribution. It's mid. Probably because stealth builds don't really need it. And there's this really cool thing called Dodgy, which basically does the same thing, but it doesn't require you to block. This requires you to block. When was the last time you blocked an enemy's attack, is my question. Because you can't block a melee attack, or you can't block a range attack. You can only block a melee attack. And yes, granted, a lot of enemies do melee hit you instead of shoot you from a far range like feral ghouls or super mutants. But sometimes this card just kind of sucks. Sorry. I would throw it in mid, I would throw it in meh. But I've never seen anyone use it. I could be wrong. But in my case scenario, it's probably a mid card. These take priority over this thing. Except for Ammo Smith. That technically should not be a... I mean, it's a good card. I'm gonna keep going before I say something really stupid. I probably have. Survival Shortcut. I don't know the exact effects this gives you. I'll just look that up, actually. Alright, so I just looked up survival syringes, which is what this thing gives you. Replenishes food and drink bars, restores health, cures diseases, and provides plus 10% health points for 2 seconds. And I guess, yeah, whatever. It's basically just a super stim pack, but I have a million of those, so I'm never gonna use it. Sorry, never gonna use it. There's this cool thing called Perfect bubble gum. You can use that, replenish all your health. Stim packs are so easy to get in this game. I sell them for my vendors in like the forest for like 1 cap because I just don't use them. So new players can use them. I give them to new players all the time. I drop 50 to people like pretty much on a daily basis. I don't need this. It's a never use case. But I could see if you do want it. But I mean, for me personally, I would say never use. But I mean, if you're gonna use it, sure, whatever, fine. But it's a never use for me. Never use. All right. Take 1 for the team. Enemies take 10% more damage when they attack you if you're on a team. This actually is really good. I would consider it a great card. Especially if you're like a tank sort of player, like a heavy gunner. They take 10% more damage. This, I don't think it stacks with Tenderizer, but if it does, that's pretty sick. Excuse me. And it doesn't say if it gives it to you and your teammates or just you. If it's just you, then that's pretty cool, I guess. I can see this being good at Queens or Earls, or the new boss events are coming out, I think this summer. It's not next week, I know that for a fact. But taking 1 for the team I feel like it should. I feel like Blood Sacrifice should be what this card inspires to be, but just better. And this card just kind of fucking sucks. What's rad gives you rad resistance and also restores your rads per second. It's again, like, all these cards are very niche. Although this one doesn't require you. This one doesn't require you to have a full set of armor like Funky Duds and Sizzling Style do. But it's still a very niche sort of card. Um, it's just really niche, you know. Um, because only non-bloody builds are going to use this, which, yeah, granted, is a lot of people, because I mean, even still, bloody's still the meta, because that 95 damage is still better than anything else we can get. But you know, whatever. But it's another one of those really niche cards. I would recommend it if you're going for like a vampire build. If not, don't use it. Whatever. It's your life. I mean, if you're using power armor, your tank, you don't really need this. So actually, think of that now. I think this goes down here. Just for the fact that if you have power armor on, you're not gonna ever need this. You're just never going to. So, that's my list. Oh wait, I forgot to rank the other perk cards. I wanted to get those out of the way. For me, endurance is a great. I always love having super high endurance. For extra health. That's pretty much it. Extra health and actually extra AP as well. The higher endurance, the more tanky you are, and the longer you can stay in bats. So that's where I'd rank that. Luck and agility, I would both put in niche, just because I never really need either of them. And well, I mean, I use them a lot on my builds. But that's only if I need extra luck and agility. And depending on the build type, if it's a stealth build, I'm going to use them. If not, then I'm not. Or if it's not, then I'm not going to use them. So they can stay down here. Intelligence, I honestly just say, just don't really use it. I would throw it in mid. It's another one of the super niche scenarios. But yeah, that's my list. Guys have any problems with it, leave a comment. I'll post the final result on my Twitter. But with that, thank you guys so much for watching the video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Comment, like, and subscribe. Follow my Twitter. It is like 1 in the morning. I'm gonna get this edited and uploaded. I will talk to y'all later. Peace.